Hello and welcome to your signature show. I am Vin Martin Obiora Ilo. Well, the invasion of the National Assembly on Tuesday by operatives of the DSS scandalized the nation, and days after, the ripple effects of that action is still impacting on the polity.
I dare you to shoot this bullet! You cannot come and go back to your station! Go back to your station! You cannot come here and embarrass us and also oppress us here!
The same people we are fighting for.
Was it the same thing Jonathan did to Buhari? If Goodluck had done this, would Buhari have become a president?
The first casualty was Lawal Daura, then DG of DSS, or is it SSS? Because no statute book, no law has actually changed the name of our Secret Service from the SSS to DSS. But somehow everyone calls them the DSS, and they have become the DSS. So the first casualty was Lawal Daura, who was promptly fired by the Vice President and arrested by the police. Since the unfortunate incident, it has been accusations and counter-accusations. It started with the Senate President addressing a world press conference where he condemned the actions and the invasion and the attack on the National Assembly. He said it was illegal, it was unlawful, while thanking Nigerians for standing firm and defending democracy. He also called on the authorities to ensure that perpetrators are brought to book.
It is a matter of record that yesterday, lawmakers and staff of the National Assembly were prevented from entering the National Assembly complex by hooded and masked and heavily armed security agents, the Department of State Services, DSS. All entries to the complex were blocked as early as 6:30 a.m. The National Assembly, the seat of democracy in Nigeria, was under lockdown. Senators and members of the House of Representatives were prevented from gaining access. The ensuing standoff was a show of shame that played itself over several hours in full view of the country.
Well, the APC national chairman fired back. He has given what I could call an ultimatum. He says Saraki had better resign. If he doesn't resign, then he will be impeached. Of course, aides of Saraki have also replied to say that a million Oshomoles cannot remove the Senate president.
Saraki is not going to be the first Senate president to be impeached, and I doubt if he's going to be the last. But definitely he will be impeached according to law and according to democratic norms. The only way Senator Saraki can avoid impeachment is for him to do what is honorable, which again leads to the issue of character. We saw a Senator Akpabio who was the PDP leader in the Senate. Once he made up his mind to leave the PDP, even before announcing his defection, he first wrote to inform the PDP, as a man of honor, please, I hereby resign from this office. So Senator Saraki has demonstrated neither character nor being a man of honor. He cannot, like I told him to his face when the last time we had a meeting, I said, you came to join APC as a senator, and it is on our platform that you became Senate president. So once you made up your mind to leave, the honorable thing to do is to resign as Senate president. Of course, if he does not resign as Senate president, he would be impeached according to law, not by thuggery, not by mob, not by anything that is undemocratic.
Whichever way you look at it, the truth is that our democracy is being scratched, our democracy is being pummeled, our democracy is being attacked, and the time that we could have used to do very good things for the country, where we would have concentrated on infrastructure losses, on fighting insurgency, fighting the herdsmen, fighting unemployment. We are deploying all those forces in internecine fights among political operatives, unfortunately, of the same political party, the APC. Well, the invasion or attack, or whatever you call it, has attracted condemnations from across the world. Different governments weighed in and condemned the actions of the DSS. But for me, whatever we say, whichever way we look at it, I think it's also important that we commend the Buhari government, represented by the Vice President, in promptly sanctioning the DG of the DSS. For whatever it's worth, at least it showed that for once, impunity is not acceptable in Nigeria. Well, that's what's been happening all week. But today, we are focusing, like a lot of people, on what happened that Tuesday. In our studio, and already seated, we have the Anglican Archbishop of Enugu, Dr. EMMANUEL CHUKWUMA. He'll be weighing in and talking about what has happened in a moment. But don't forget that last week we had started a conversation with FAROUK ADAMU, former minority leader of the House of Representatives. We brought you some part of that conversation where he talked about the issues and troubles within and outside the APC. We'll conclude that interview later on in the program today. So don't go away, sit tight, and let's take a roll on the program. Your Grace, you're welcome to our show.
Thank you very much.
You know, in our previous conversations, you did talk about what you described as behavior that might be threat to our democracy. Do you think that these threats have become bolder today?
Thank you very much. Yes. We just have to thank God for His mercies and for so far God has led this country and our democracy. If not, it would have been worse than Bosnia. The behavior of some of our politicians today is very much appalling and very much disappointing. One wonders what about democracy we are practicing now, whether it is real democracy or military democracy. Because the way things are going now, one is wondering why these things should happen if we're talking about government of the people, by the people, for the people, and all that. Well, it seems that the government is no more for the people, by the people, because it seems people don't have their own wish to express themselves and belong to where they want to belong. And there's a lot of intimidation, a lot of witch hunting, a lot of, people not being free, insecurity all over the whole place. So it has affected the whole thing, and you find that there's madness, political madness, and would I say prostitution all over the whole place. And that is not going to go well for the democracy of Nigeria, which we have labored and nurtured for these 16 to 18 years. So one is very much disturbed, and you can see what's happening. We've been talking about it, but it's getting worse. So we don't know where we're going yet.
Let's go to specifics. We've seen this movement from one political party to the other. In your words, that's prostitution. What does it portend for our democracy when people give the impression that what is driving them is not principles, but personal
or ideology.
Yeah. What does it portend for?
Well, a very dangerous, very dangerous signal. But you see, there's no smoke without fire. What we are seeing today is as a result of wrong ideology and wrong motive of being in politics. I always say politics is not bad, but the people in politics are very bad. There is the politics of self-centeredness, politics of selfishness, materialism, and bastardization. And so one is worried about this. I made it quite clear when I was preaching at CHUKWUMA's burial that people who are cross-carpeting should mind what they're doing. Come back to how they were elected. You have the mandate of your constituency elected either by party or personality. And then you decided now to change. One of the things I find wrong is you needed to go back to your constituency to consult them who voted you in. And if they now give you the opportunity or give you the backing, then you have no problem. Because some people, if they are doing it on their own personal interest, you will not be back. Because if you are cross-carpeting to another party and you have not made an impact and there's nothing at all to show in your constituency, you've missed it. Because with the way things are going now, and I'm going to really mobilize, we're not going to talk about party. We're not interested about party now. The parties have failed us, and I mean it. None of these parties can give us salvation, whether PDP or APC, with the way they are flogging themselves with selfishness and their own sort of way of trying to promote themselves to be president. It's going to be a crash. The thing there is that we're going to think about who are you? What have you performed? Not party. Party spirit is going to lose, and that's what you don't understand. So it will be worse for somebody who has not performed in the constituency and so you are cross-carpeting. You cross-carpet on your own. But the reason is because many of our people have lost the ideology, they've lost the reason why they are there, and people hurriedly change whatever. I'm not seeing anything wrong in it if you are not finding constitutionally anything right with your people or with the people you are in sympathy with, or there's intimidation, or you find yourself very much in a very uncomfortable situation. But again, you still need to go back to your constituency to seek their approval. That is where
and get a new mandate.
And get a new mandate to say, since you voted me in this party, is it your own wish that I change to another party? Because you are the one they are focusing on, not the party. You are the one who collects every constituency allowance or sponsor based on their behalf. So you cannot just go on your own as if to say you are on your own. No politician or no senator or House of Rep is on his own in the place. That's what you have to understand. And money back politics is going to fail this particular time around. So it's a shame. What we are looking at now is that we're going to have a very serious crash and a sort of disgrace and disappointment in our democracy, because people are no more sincere. And it's a dangerous trend. So we are praying that God will just save this country the way it's going.
You have been saying that probably why we are having this seeming tension and what some people have called a breach of constitutionality is because we still have people with military background in leadership positions in Nigeria. Can you talk more about that?
Well, you see, the thing there is that Nigerians are just very much mumistic, as I call it. Nigerians have not yet learned I think they are carried away unnecessarily. For us now, if we want to have a serious natural democracy, we should forget about military politics. In fact, no military man with what we are seeing today should be voted into power for anything, whether in the House, whether in the Senate, whether as a president. The present president has made us to understand that the military spirit and influence in every military man is carried into democracy. And I made it quite clear for a long time that the person of Buhari, who is our president, will not respect any rule of law with his military background. And that is why when the court gives order, nobody obeys. But they want the order to be obeyed. It's a clash. And it's also a disrespect to democracy. So we find that what we are seeing today is not palatable at all. We've had time of Jonathan, of Shehu Yadua, We didn't find things just like this, whereby people are using military force to get their way. And particularly at this time when the senators or politicians are cross-carpeting. And one wonders, all those who committed atrocities in terms of Jonathan and crossed to APC, immediately crossed to APC, their case goes into comatose. And it seems as if APC is now shielding corruption, where you say you are fighting corruption. And it's going on now. When nobody talked and there was no fire when somebody crossed to APC. But now from APC to PDP, there's confusion everywhere. I think they should be very careful. I love what Dogara did in the House of Representatives when it's okay. The same thing I have done this. Anybody crossing again to PDP, the same measure. And he was sincere. So I see no reason why people should be so agitative, or why even the chairman of the APC, Shomale, should get somehow very erratic and mad about whatever happens. But the thing there is that, as far as I'm concerned, people with military background definitely have their military influence that is transmitted into politics and democracy. And that's what we are seeing now. And it's not good for our time.
This week and the week before, we've seen the invasion of the National Assembly by security agents. We saw masked men stopping senators, National Assembly staff, and journalists, denying them access into the National Assembly.
Well, it has to tell you. I mean, it's a shame that immediately after the defection of Saraki, the president had some meetings with some people. Immediately, I'm quite sure he knew what he had planned down and then decided he was going on vacation. First of all, that was a wrong step to take, to go on vacation. For what? When your house is not in order. If you know you are going on vacation and using medical as a part of pretense, then you are not fit to be president of Nigeria. We've been praying for him, and God has sustained so far. It's a time for him now to begin to know that when he was coming, he talked about one term. And that one term should end smoothly, peacefully, and let him go back and rest in Daura. Look, I mean, for how many times, sometimes some years he's been struggling and wanting to be part of this country, and they themselves out of, because even he truncated in 1983 the government of Shagari and Ekweme. He truncated it, and now he's about truncating this democracy. What is wrong with him? And you find that this situation for which people are cross-carpeting and doing this, it should not be a problem for anybody. It's a matter of people trying to know that all is not well. And our politicians should be very cautious about our democracy and about the future of this nation. So one is worried. One is worried, really. And I feel the Mr. President should know that the way he is going, he will be held responsible with his government of APC. If this democracy will derail, he will be held responsible. And people should speak out. I'll be speaking and talking, but they should know that, as one concerned, the church leaders must speak out now and begin to tell them that all this we are doing is nonsense. We have not had good... People should think about the development of their constituencies and talk about how Nigeria can move forward. But the way things are going, one is worried. And I feel that all this that has happened in the House today is illegal. Because if the House has already pronounced vacation, and Mr. President is on vacation, and the court is on vacation, and children are on vacation, schools are on vacation, everything is on vacation. So also, this type of conspiracy should go on vacation. But when terms of cross-carpeting, what do you call it now, vacation and also defection. But unfortunately, you find that what happened on Tuesday is a sign of, will I say, treason for a government to block people entering into the National Assembly, whatever motive they had, and not allowing everybody to go in. I mean, it's unfortunate, because I believe that Lawan, who has been talking about and begging the people to come back, was because they wanted the budget to be passed, which of that of INEC. And if they are sincere, then they should allow the House to convene peacefully, discharge the duty on that, and then still go on their vacation. But if the intention is deceitful, whereby you come to pass on and you are now blocking people, those who are APC are allowed in, those who are not APC are not allowed in, then there's something fishy. And that is not going to augur well for democracy. So it is illegal for any force, any military, any sort of security people to go to that National Assembly to block people. Yeah, you talk about people committing coup. The one of besieging the Senate President and Deputy not being able to go a few weeks ago to preside is an attempted coup, which the present government should be tried and sued for treason. They are doing these things with impunity. And time is coming, Nigerians will not tolerate it anymore. It's time has come that we begin to cry out and we know that this country belongs to all of us. Nobody can pocket this country as his own personal property. We will not take it. Enough is enough. So I believe that whatever they must have planned, it has failed. And God's will and power will overthrow every evil plan in Nigeria.
Your Grace, a lot of historians are getting really worried because when we look back to the period after independence, we are seeing the same red flags that we saw those years. If you remember, the problem started in Tivland. Problem is also in Tivland today. Yeah. You have all these tensions everywhere, killings, unchecked killings and all that. Does it mean, Your Grace, that history is not dear to our hearts in Nigeria?
Well, I don't think we have learned from history yet. And you have to understand that many people easily forget the past. And I think it's quite clear that most of our people who are in politics now are young people. Many of them don't even know what happened in those days. They didn't feel the impact of it. They didn't know the danger in it. So hence, they are trying to erupt what happened. But that is why it is important that those who are old politicians should stay clear and be consultants to teach these people who are new, not being involved, because they themselves to mess themselves up. But the new people who are the new breeds should not be new breeds. They themselves should begin to ask questions. How far have we been? What are the mistakes that have been made in the past? And we must make sure we don't repeat the same mistake. Let us say we move forward. But nobody's referring again to the past things that happened. Everybody's just talking about future, now. Let's begin to think about what has happened in the past. Where has it gone wrong? And what do we need to do now? What are we thinking of doing for the future? That's why history is very complete, past, present, and future. But unfortunately, people forget history. And it's been very much unfortunate that if people continue to think about just now, tomorrow, and didn't think about the mistake made in the past, and for you not to correct it to move forward, then we're going to crash. The democracy will crash. We cannot afford to make this country a country that is not even where. That was what I was even talking about, Mr. President saying that the unity of this country is not negotiable. It is negotiable now. With the fractions and with all this insecurity and also disagreement, there's need for negotiation for the unity of Nigeria. If we cannot be together, then let us say all together. The amalgamation was a mistake. And of course, if you listen to history, go to Britain, they will tell you that it was now they realize it was a mistake. Because coming together and not being together and not united together, there's marginalization, there's no equity, there's no justice. It's telling you that all is not well. And so our democracy is in danger. So that is the way we look at it. So we must be very careful. And we just pray God to intervene.
Your Grace, besides prayer by men of God like you, you touched it a little bit, mobilizing. Is there a way that those of you that are our spiritual fathers are networking to address these very concerning issues?
Yes. You see, the thing there is that many of our church leaders have become so much corrupt. And many of them have been settled, otherwise, so to say. And many of them are not bold to speak the truth. Some of us who are speaking the truth, we are speaking because we are very much concerned about our nation, the life of the people, and damn the consequence. Because we find that what is happening now, Christians and church leaders must begin to reason together and come together with one voice, solidly together, to condemn the evil. And that was why I was even trying to propose, and I'm still proposing to speak to all church leaders in Nigeria, that when we cannot fight physically, we should go into spiritual war. And I'm going to declare that spiritual war for Nigeria, whereby all Christians or whoever is interested, we take 1, 2 days, 3 days, sit down at home, no work, no market. Let's go on our knees and call on to God to intervene, and we see what God will do. The battle is no more carnal, because all these things we are doing about security has lost its essence. Life is no more useful to many people. Even the life of an animal is better, of a cow is better than the life of human beings. Where are we heading to? So God is the only one who can now begin to turn something, because I know that God can change the heart of men. So the thing is that men of God should begin to think about what can we do now to intervene spiritually by fasting and praying, and by making our influence known that we can still make impact. If all Christians in this country come together, I'm quite sure things will change and we shall shake this nation. And that's why I'm appealing to all the church leaders, wherever you are. Let us choose a date between September and October, because it's going to be very hot. Politics is heating up, and I really pray that the election will take place in February or whatever, because the way it's going, we may not have election this year. There may be a state of emergency. But to declare prayer, a day of prayer, or 2 days or 3 days of prayer, whereby nobody will go to market, nobody will go to work, and everything will just be silent, praying to God for intervention, and we'll see what will happen. So these are the areas we are trying to mobilize, and also to make sure that our politicians themselves behave themselves. No person who is above correction, and church leaders should not just leave the politician alone. I mean, I knew a few weeks ago, when a Kuremadu came back home, I had to mobilize the clergy, some clergy. I said, let's go and pray for him and admonish him. Some people misinterpreted that I was praying for a thief. But I'm saying, what evidence has anybody got in the source of Nigeria that will say that Kuremadu has stolen government money? When they mentioned those who stole money, his name was not there. He's my parishioner. I can't deny him. So where now has he stolen? What evidence has he can show? Somebody who has been a 3-term deputy president.
So in other words, you're saying if there is evidence, the government should bring it forward?
Yes. That's also that he stole money.
Charge him to court?
Yes. But not a maker of action on tip-off of falsehood. Because right now, which area, he has never been a governor, he has never been in any state of government for which can say he stole money. The names that were published under Jonathan that shared money or stole money, that was shared by this man who was being held. Dasuki. His name wasn't there. They didn't mention his name. I like to see evidence. I like to stand on the truth. And that's why I say, whatever intimidation anybody brings to any politician that is not true, we fail. Because this is like witch hunting, hot eye, and people trying to suppress people. It cannot happen in this politics. Nigerians are going to arise. We're going to rise against all this, and it must come to an end.
Is there any way those of you of the Christian fold are reaching out to your colleagues in the Islamic side to work together?
Yes, there's what they call the Procumura, and other areas where we have seminars and we're talking together. The imams, many of them are distant with what's happening today. I'm quite sure even the Sultan is not happy with what's happening today. We consult. I mean, the Sultan of Sokoto is my friend. We do communicate. Nobody's happy. So we do reach out. And if you find that everywhere in the mosque, people are preaching against this violence, there must be peace in the church, we preach against it. But you find that there are some people who are very much die-hearted religious fanatics who will want to begin to destroy the government of Nigeria by their segregation, and they're trying to make sure that everybody in this country shouldn't be one, and they bring segregation. It's not going to work. So we are reaching out, but our reaching out again is not with much of dialogue, of much of closeness. There's a lot of suspicion, and that is the problem. But I think if we open our hearts together, work together, we shall make an impact on Nigeria better than what it is today.
You've talked about Nigeria's unity being up for negotiation, that you don't agree with whoever says it cannot be negotiated. How do you want to do this negotiation? What pedestal, on what platform, what process do you want this negotiation to take place?
Referendum. Referendum, simple.
But it's not in our statute books?
It doesn't need to be there. It's a matter of understanding that we know that we need to come together to have a referendum to discuss what that which concerns us. You see, you make the law, you also have to adjust the law.
But that has to start with the National Assembly.
Well, National Assembly have to do, but notwithstanding, it's a matter of understanding among the people. And this is where traditional rulers also come in. Traditional rulers come in, religious leaders come in, and people of importance in Nigeria. Naturally, it will come when we try to say, okay, these are not going together. And then the head of the government must be very free and fair in noting that there must not be any fear of all these negotiations. It's a matter of you having a clear mind that you want things good for Nigeria. But most of our leaders are not thinking good of Nigeria. That they are self-centered. They are thinking mostly about themselves. That's why things are this way. If people are thinking about the good of the whole Nigeria entirety, and we now want to do things that will make us to be together, then that should be utmost in the mind of everybody, that in negotiating for peace, understanding, should not have any rule to stop us. But to find that everybody just wants to go one-way traffic, and that's where we make mistake. So if at the time when they were saying Igbo people should go in the north, and Mr. President was not around, and the Vice President was able to gather people to come to FAROUK and being able to persuade, but that's because he was negotiating that people must look for peace, and it really doused the tension at that time. That was good, which Mr. President doesn't have the sense to do. He believes in force. He believes in this sort of cunning way of doing things. But the Mr. Vice President should also be able to advise Mr. President.
But when you say the President is cunning, he doesn't have... what evidence do you have to make such claims? Well,
when he says cunning, it's not sincere. Because you find that most of the time he says he's fighting corruption. But ask questions about most of the people that were named to be corrupt. What has he done about them? It's in social media. They ask questions about many things. You find money, so where's the money? Abacha loot, where's the money? And so person was found corrupt. Rather than trying them, anybody who goes into APC are not tried. All this type of thing. Okay, you say Bashir is a thief. He stole so. He covered him until he blew up for him to be sacked. Then you brought boss, your own brother, to take over. And they ask him, if this Nigeria is Nigeria, that the war we fought, which says to keep Nigeria one is a task that must be done. Why is there that, look at right now, in the service chiefs, no single Southeast is there. And most of the Southeast people now in the army have been retired. In the police, they're not there. It's only sectional. If Nigeria is Nigeria and it's the president of the northern Nigeria, let us know. Everything that you see that's appointment today, people occupying positions are people from the north. So it's a cunning way of telling us that...
Maybe you're talking about the majority, not all.
Majority, okay, majority, because whatever you see that you give to any southerner is of no significance and does not translate.
Are you saying that a minister of in the federal cabinet is not important?
This does not translate into any, whatever ministry you give to anybody from the southeast doesn't translate into any type of physical transformation of the place. And I've said it many times, it doesn't translate. What is Ngige going to do with his labor than to settle issues with labor all the time? Look at Ubenian, that was also a very strong leader of a party that sacrificed his party. Look at type of ministry they gave to him to go and be struggling with iron and steel. Is that a good thing for an Igbo man?
He can turn it into something. Maybe that's because of that competence. That's why Mr. President...
There's nothing there. Go and find out how much is allocated to his ministry. Why should somebody... Yes. Why should somebody, again, because I said it many times, who again stole their state's money to support somebody's presidency campaign, be given three ministries and start fighting corruption, and they are recouping their money. Why should two people be having 3 ministries supervising? It is not fair. It is not. These are evidence we have to be very frank about, because those people don't have 2 heads. But because they are holding Lagos and Rivers and these areas where you have pumped money to support somebody, they look over their mistakes, look over their atrocities. And also, right now, many of the people who have also been involved in atrocities are being harbored in APC. And now, some of them again are coming back to PDP. And because they left you and coming to PDP, you are now witch hunting them. Nobody's talking about those who moved from PDP to APC. These are part of the things. When people like Hopos or Dimma, whom today they were trying to see if he was going to be the next deputy president. Of course, the thing is not working out. They say that he has his own problems, you know, and they're now thinking about what to do. There's disagreement, and the PDP itself, now as it is now, when people are coming back again, everybody wants to be president. They're not having many presidential candidates, and that's what I'm saying that if they don't take time, they will play into the hands of Mr. President. Because right now, what we're talking about now is good governance is what we're after. How can we have good governance? And that should be paramount in the heart of Mr. President. If you say you have come to bring a change, when you came in 3 years ago, What change has it been? What change? It's a cunning way of deciding, deceiving us. We have not seen any change. We have seen more hardship. More people have died. More hunger has come. More unemployment has been displayed. And people are not happy. Sadness everywhere. The whole country is in shambles. I mean, look at this summer. I mean, how many people are traveling? The exchange rate is higher than what you met. And even power is not stable. So many times we pretend to be doing something. It's comfortable in ARCHBISHOP. It's comfortable. I'm not saying that I'm against APC or whatever, but the thing that I'm personally concerned about somebody's attitude towards the people's welfare. It's not being taken care of. They're comfortable in ARCHBISHOP. They don't buy diesel. They don't buy food, and so they travel. They are carried with the pop and page, carried away. They don't want to leave the post. But let me tell you, if they don't go back to find a way to be concerned and be sincere about this government, God will take over this government at its right time, and everybody will know that God is God, because it is God who promoted and made people to be rich. But anybody who does not think about God, I think that you are all and all. We know what happened to Abacha now, so it can still happen. Nigerians should just go and be praying. Let us be praying and fight the battle. Spiritual battles. We are going to face a spiritual war in this country whereby God is going to prove himself greater than anybody. So whether you are calling or whether you are trying to be sincere, the judgment day is coming, and everybody, whether Buhari, whether FAROUK, whether PDP, whether APC, everybody will face the judgment, and Nigeria will sanitize. We're in the wilderness. We're in a very trying time, but very soon God is going to make us to be transformed into the promised land. And how it's going to be is left in the hand of God.
Your Grace, we must leave it on this very optimistic note.
Thank you.
His Grace Most Reverend Dr. EMMANUEL CHUKWUMA, Anglican Archbishop of Enugu. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
On the Signature Show.
And may God bless Nigeria. Let there be peace. Let there be honesty of purpose, good governance in Nigeria.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it's actually terrible because the National Assembly is where we have the laws being made. Yes, and if at that level where we expect order, there is a breakdown of order, then it means that we are, it's almost, I would just take that to be like chaos, what do you call this now, instead of anarchy, close to anarchy, but we can't go for the intervention and what's the way it went.
When I heard a lot of things that happened, I'm not happy, because I think it's not interest of the ordinary Nigerians, or what's happening is the interest of the politician. So what are they doing is a confusion. For we as the ordinary Nigerian, it's a confusion. So for them, they know what they're doing.
Whatever the security men have done, somebody have told them to do so. Somebody have pushed them to do so. They cannot go there on their own or on their own right of permission, because nobody wants to. If you manage to get a job in Nigeria, you would like to lose it now. But when you have somebody backing you, putting sand and fertilizer on you to do something, you may have that confidence to do whatever. Even to go and kill the president, you can have that confidence, knowing to that somebody is behind you. So whatever the security people have done, they did do it on their own. Somebody have pushed them to do so.
As I said when we started, we had brought you part of the interview we had with FAROUK ADAMU, former minority leader at the House of Representatives. We brought a part of it in our last program. So today we are bringing you the concluding part. When you were in opposition,
yes,
what did Goodluck Jonathan do right?
Jonathan Goodluck did a lot of things right.
You suddenly remember now.
No. I never said...
Because I remember interviews I had with you about, so suddenly he has done something.
No. Honestly, Jonathan had done something right. Just like he did more wrongs. Now we do more right than wrong. Of course, there are some things that we do that are not right. That's true. That's human also. And then we are learning. And honestly, you see, one of the things that happens or happened to us and up till now, the magnitude of the rot, we didn't know. There are certain projections that we as a party thought But when we came in, it was so monumental that, wow, we shouldn't have said this, because now here we are with empty treasury. This brings me to issue of appointments. You find out that there are certain appointments that have not been done. Why? There will even be no money to pay those people. And so if politicians cannot make sacrifice, I, Honorable FAROUK Adamu ALIYU, I am one of the people that have been with the president from day one to date. I'm one of the probably 5 closest people to him today. I don't have any role officially in this government. Because not everybody will be in government. And you don't have to be in government to contribute your quota. So if some people think that, look, we need to come and chop, it's not done like that. The president we have there would rather leave than to do certain things that are wrong.
Anyway, when you say you don't have any official position, I've heard about this silent position in government, friend of the president. Sometimes it's bigger than being. Anyway, that's by the way. But let's look at the APC. Your colleagues across the country are saying that, look, the defections mean nothing to us. We'll win, we'll win, we'll win. Are they just trying to put this facade that everything is fine? Is it not something, like you said, you don't, I mean, in truth, that those of you there don't like it? Is it not something that should, I asked this and I'm asking again, is it not something that will make the APC retreat and look at its template and see what the party has done wrong?
Let me tell you and tell everybody that, look, I do not agree with some of my leaders who say it does not bother them, who say those people good riddance. I don't agree with that. As I told you earlier, these are people who helped us to win. That's true. So when they're leaving, it pains us. And anybody, any one of us, I mean anybody, any one of us who comes to say they are nobody or they can go to hell is not true. Of course, you know, some leaders will have to show that, look, it doesn't bother them. But I am telling you as an inner person, it bothers us. But then from the other side, we have also gained. There are people down the line, not the big elites, who have suddenly realized that, okay, this is a gang up against, fight against corruption. This is a gang up against rule of law. So let the elites gang up. We, the lower people, will teach them a lesson. And I think it is high time that the masses start teaching us a lesson. If we will not defect as politicians, you don't defect within the first year, second year. You will wait until 6 months to election. You defect. I think, and without cogent reason, without any reason to show that, look, yes, I think it's good you leave. The masses need to teach us a lesson to show that, look, you cannot just, we elect you under this platform. For your selfish interests, you leave. So when you come to the ballot, we show it to you.
Under these circumstances, how does the APC want to move forward?
Now, there are some that we are still talking to. Some of them that have left. We're talking to them, pleading. Tell them, look, if you have, because in some states, it is problem between governor and members of National Assembly. Nothing to do with the president or the government. So those anger, the anger from the state is translated on the national body or the president. So in such circumstances, we are trying to reconcile the governors and some members of National Assembly and some elites. In some cases, we as the party and also the leaders of the party shall force some of the governors to rescind their decision in saying they will not work with XYZ because of their personal local interests. So we are pleading. We're pleading with the governors, pleading with the members, trying to cajole them, trying to bring them back to come. But then also, now people are defecting from APC, some. We're waiting for PDP too. The way they said they were waiting for us, we're waiting for them. They are also going to go for primaries. At least we have a presidential candidate in Buhari. We've not seen anybody yet trying to compete with him. In PDP, there are probably 15 known aspirants. There shall be katakata, and we're also waiting to go and appeal to some of them.
And harvest.
Absolutely. Absolutely, it's politics, because there are some of them that we know will not see eye to eye. And then look, you know, it baffles me, and I'm now appealing to my PDP friends and colleagues. Don't give candidature to all these defectors, because they will leave them also someday and come back to us. So let them just send them back to us, and then we sit and settle our differences.
You were coordinator or chief campaign officer for Adams Oshomole. Adams...
I was the director general of his campaign.
Okay. Yes. You were the director general of his campaign. And he's been here 1-2 months. And a lot of people say he has divided the APC more than he has united the APC. Is it something you subscribe to?
No. It is subjective.
So what is it? What is the truth?
You see, when it's just like the APC, when people are used to one style for a long time and you bring change, there is bound to be resistance. The way things were done, and people are different. Oyegun, our former chairman, is different. Adams is different. So the approach in doing things are different. So there are some who have been used to how Oyegun was running the party, rightly or wrongly, and now somebody came with new ideas, different way of doing things, so they will resist. Of course, there are some people who are not happy with the way he does his things. But then there is also nature. We that have elected him, we believe that it's only an Adams that can unite the party now. Yes, there are some mistakes here and there by him, just like by, as a human being. And we're trying to reconcile. We're trying to ensure, because and politics, it's intrigues. So there will be crisis. Nobody will tell you that it's going to be smooth sail.
So are you saying that Anna Oshomole, who is being accused of not concerning himself with the party, he's getting involved in day-to-day running of government, where he starts saying that he will sack ministers and give them query if the president wants to be disrespected, that he, Adams, in quotes, who probably is bigger than the president, will not tolerate being disrespected by ministers. Well, was that part of the objective when, for instance, you were campaigning for him?
No, absolutely no. I mean, I do not subscribe to that statement he made as well, as it regards to president. But as it regards to ministers, yes, the minister is not above the party. Absolutely. And if the party decides that, look, Minister A, without the party or we in power, you wouldn't be a minister. So if the party chairman decides to chastise any of the ministers, that's okay, that's in order. So there's nothing wrong with that.
There's no due process for relationship between the party and the government.
No, but of course there is.
Why would your new chairman go outside the party to chastise ministers that work for Mr. President?
Well, ministers don't work for Mr. President. Ministers work for the government. Ministers work for you and I. And the ministers happen to come from a party. And the chairman of the party, who is Adams Oshomole, is the chairman of the party. And the president also subscribes to him as the chairman of the party. So if the chairman of the party comes to say, look, and aren't the same members of the APC complaining that these appointments have not been done? So if the chairman says that, look, do this thing or we do that, there is nothing wrong with that.
For instance, Serika, the Minister of Aviation, that the chairman, who is among those the chairman is accusing of not doing what they're supposed to do. This minister said they take instructions from Mr. President, not from Mr. Adams Oshomole.
That is true. No, that is true. They take because he's the head of the government. But there's difference between government and the party. Does
Mr. Oshomole realize that?
I'm sure he does. Of course, of course. But then there would not be a government without the party. So it's vice versa. You cannot, because you are a minister, look down upon, down at the party as well. You need to consult. You need to even brief the party of what's happening in your ministry, so that because when the party start to talk about the government, what the government is doing, they will be informed. And look, these are the kind of differences that make politics. There is bound to be friction between ministers and party or same party members. That's what keeps the life going. And I was with him. Actually, we had a meeting in the villa. If you look at the video, I was behind him when he made those statements. All in dialoguing between government, ministers, party members, and so on. And in the course of that, journalists like you waylaid him and put it to him. So, it's all part of life and part of democracy.
Let's look at 2019. And I mean, you've been in politics. In 2011, you ran for governor of your state, Jigawa State. Today, 2019 is staring us in the face. What do you see? Some people say the way we are going, the unity of the country is at risk. How do you see journey to 2019? We're almost there.
Well, of course, political crisis will be there, even from the defection. But then, luckily for us, as a country, and also as political parties, the two major gladiators, the APC and the PDP, have somehow agreed among themselves this time around to field the presidential candidates from the north. So that also, says that, look, we're the same people. If the PDP will decide on their own that let our candidate come from this part of the country, and APC also are like a second term. So that will go and not bring a lot of problems. That's one. Then two, elites are responsible for this kind of division. You and I are one and the same. You are my friend for a long time. So if you and I appreciate and understand that, look, we need to be one and we need to live together. We don't need this rancor. I don't need to go to my village and start talking bad about Vin Martin Ilo, who is my friend. Or you don't need to go to your village and say that, look, that Ndiugu is bad, while I go to my place and say Nyamuri is bad. So if we, the elites of this country, decide to have peace, there will be. And I think we should start putting our differences, aside. Then look, we need to, first of all, have a country for us to even dialogue. So for us to have a country is to ensure that, look, we don't throw the water with the baby, that kind of thing. We don't have to take it so personal to start bringing religious and ethnicity into our well-being or into dialoguing or into us as a people. As I told you, the elites of this country are one and the same. Whenever it comes to stealing, taking money, bribe, nobody talks about where you come from. The elites sit around the table, Christians, Muslims, and share. And when you, if you look at the prosecution that is going on about the corruption, you cannot say there are more Muslims or less Christians. They are one and the same. So, and I call on the masses of this country to understand that, look, the problem of this country, it's us, the elites. We have pauperized them so bad that, look, whatever we do, they will follow us because we have stolen them dry and we party together with the elites. Our children marry among themselves. We do things together. But when it comes to, our personal interest, we all go back to our villages and start weeping sentiment. So the masses, I call on the masses of Bayelsa and that of Jigawa to understand that we are one and the same. And if we try to divide them, they should teach us a lesson at the polling units.
The last time you ran for governor, is it possible that we are going to 2019 and you just want to you don't want to be part of the struggle for positions?
No,
You're not looking at anything?
Absolutely. I'm not contest. I am Buhari till death do us part. So I shall continue to be with him, work for the president to ensure that we win election, so that we'll continue with this process of bringing back the country, bringing back life into the country. And look, so many things have gone wrong in this country that, look, if we don't go through this pain, there will not be enjoyment later. So I'm willing to be a guinea pig, to stay without a position or without contesting for anything, but to work for my party and the president to ensure we continue in government. And I'm very happy with my position.
Mr. FAROUK ADAMU ALIYU, I must thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
That was FAROUK ADAMU ALIYU speaking to us about the APC and other issues. And that's how we draw the curtain on our show today. Remember, you can reach us on our social media platforms. If you've missed this program or any part of it, or our old programs, you can also go watch them on signaturetv.com.ng. And until same time next week, I'm Vin Martin Obiora Ilo from the Signature Studios in Abuja, Nigeria, thanking you for watching.